Hi everyone, I'm Corrie. Today I'm going to show you how I made these St. Patrick's Day pouches. You can see, there we go. They are green felt and gold glitter iron-on vinyl. Both of the images are from Cricut Design Space. Just going to show you what I used to make them. So obviously this dark green felt, it's sort of the colour of, I have to get the colour on here, it's sort of a very similar colour to like the top of a pool or a billiards table. It's that kind of green. You'll see better in the pictures, I think, anyway. I used ribbon. On the video I actually used this cute little ribbon. This was another option that I was thinking of. And then after I had put the pouch together, I suddenly remembered I had this gorgeous, look, this is all I've got left now, this really gorgeous, it's like a gold holographic ribbon, and it's from Daiso. Everybody says it differently. To stitch the pouches together, I did two different methods. Along the top there is a line that I did on the sewing machine, just a straight line, because I'm not a whiz on the sewing machine. And then the rest I did with hand stitching there. I think it's a blanket stitch, and if you just pull like that, it tightens the pouch up. So for the hand stitching, I use this kind of thread. It's like an embroidery thread, but it's like a twisted. There's two threads twisted together. I prefer that one than just the regular embroidery thread. I also like to use a doll needle, which, as you can see, is quite a big needle. Maybe it's just old age. I can't really see very well. But obviously it's great for that kind of thread. It goes through the eye really easily, and I kind of like that look of the stitching going around the outside of the pouch. I used this gold iron-on vinyl for the little designs, and as I said, the designs are in Design Space, and I'm going to go into Design Space now, and I'll show you where the designs are, and then after that I'll show you how I put the pouches together. Okay, so here we are in Cricut Design Space. These are my designs, and these are obviously the back parts for the pouches. So I'll just show you how I put these together. We'll start with the images. And I used an image that I used for my St. Patrick's Day sign, if you saw that video, a Shamrock mandala. And then once I brought the image in, I just took it apart. So I clicked ungroup, and it was that one that I wanted, that lighter grey. And then I just got rid of all the other layers and resized it. Change the colour. There we go. So that was that one. And then the lucky one we're going to look for now. Okay, there's lots of options here, as you can see. Oh, there it is, I can see it. Obviously it's got all these little dots, and I'll just show you how to get rid of those. I didn't want those. I also want a small shamrock to go underneath. Again, lots of options. I chose this one, quite like the shape of that one. And again, that one's a multiple layer one, so just resize it, and then I'll take away the other ones. There we go, so we're left with that. Again, just twist it, change the colour, resize it. I'm going to just show you how to get rid of all these dots in this lucky. I don't know whether it's available without the dots, but this is the one I could find. So I just clicked hide all contours, and then ignore all those dots, just re-click all the letters and that little gap in between the flourish on the K, if you will. Then just resize it, change the colour, highlight both if you're wanting the Shamrock and the Lucky to stay together, and then you can attach them together and resize them. You can group or attach, but if you attach, then when it cuts, they stay in the correct place. To make the actual pouch itself, I used a circle. I'll just show you against this one for sizing. Use it as a guide. So if we do it like that, that's 3.5 roughly. And then I used it's a square in this one, which I'm going to turn into a rectangle. You can click there on that lock to change it, and then just pull it like that. So basically I want it like that kind of a shape, and I'll just hide my original ones if I can find them, because there's one sitting behind. You can only weld 2 items together at a time. The same with slice. You can only slice 2 items. So just highlight, just highlight and then click weld, and then it becomes one piece, just like that. So that's how I made the base. And obviously we're making 2 pouches, so we need 4 of those, a front and a back for each one. So I'll just bring all of those back from my original design so I don't confuse myself. And then we're going to go to make it. I'm using a Maker 3 and it's going to be on a mat. Now these images are being cut with iron-on vinyl, so I'm going to need to go in and mirror those. And I actually don't have iron-on vinyl here. Okay. Sometimes you have to type different things in for it to come up. If you click that little star, it saves it as a favourite at the top there. As you can see, it asks you, make sure your mirror is turned on. I can see it's not. So click edit, click mirror. You see it flips the images round. Click done. And we're using a fine point blade, and you can use a blue mat. Now I'm not going to click that remember material settings at the top, because the second mat is going to be felt, and we will need to change the blade for that as well. Okay, so the Maker, it measures the mat, it pulls the mat in to make sure that you have enough material for the project you're about to cut. Okay, next we're going to be cutting the felt. So I will go into felt acrylic fabric, and as you can see I've already loaded the rotary blade in clamp B. Okay, so just a little video of the felt being cut here, in case you've never seen felt being cut. Now let's see how it's done. Okay, 3 have come up really nicely, and it looks like one just got caught ever so slightly in the cut, just on one edge. It sometimes happens. And I just take my scissors and just snip it like that. Okay, here's my vinyl. As you can see, the gold and glitter can be particularly difficult. Sorry, I'm slightly off camera there. It can be difficult to see. If you fold it, just as I was showing, you can kind of find the edges, which will help you with your weeding. So I'm just going to weed that now. Okay, there's the finished design, and it will look like that in the end. Okay, so now I'm going to fold this top layer over like that, and then I'm going to sew a line. This will be the inside. I'm going to use my sewing machine for that, and then we'll have sort of like a tube that you can thread your ribbon into. Here's the ribbon that I was using. So here's me at the sewing machine, and here's the shape. As I said, fold it over to make the little tube. And it's just a really quick straight line. I'm sorry this isn't great camera work. I've actually never recorded myself using my sewing machine before. But there you go, you can see the straight line, and then just obviously trim those edges. Voila. Okay, so I've done all of those now. This is the thread that I showed you earlier, that like twisted embroidery thread. So I will show you now how I do like the blanket stitch. Obviously tie a knot in the end and then try and hide the knot on the inside. So put those two inside edges together, the rough edges, and then just start. Now, I'm funny about not joining up thread, so I use a big long piece of thread, and it does get tangled initially, so bear with me. I'll try and show you just a little closer up. You're basically just looping it round like that, so thread it in and then loop. You can put your finger in like that, and that does help to stop it getting tangled. I hope you can see. There's lots of videos on how to do this kind of like a blanket stitch. I've just sped it up now because obviously we'd be here forever if you had to watch me sewing the whole thing at normal speed. We're just going to carry on all the way around, and then obviously do a bit of a knot at the other end. See, I've got tangled again there. I just hate to join thread up in the middle of a project, so I sometimes end up in a bit of a tangle. Okay, and then just hide the knot on the inside there. Now you have a pouch. So I'm going to show you how to thread the ribbon. Again, I've slowed it down a little bit. For these pouches, I used, I think it was 16-inch lengths of ribbon, which seems like a lot. But to make it work, you kind of just pinch it like that and thread it through. Now I use like a wooden skewer. I suppose you could stitch and pull the needle through if you have a big dull needle like what I use. But basically it's gone through one end, and then we're putting it back round into the other end. Can be a bit fiddly. This is why I was saying you could use the needle and then just cut the edge off. It's an option, I guess. Pull it through, make sure your ribbons are flat so they're not twisted inside. And then we need to get the other one. And basically we're going in the opposite direction and doing the same thing. When I first made a pouch, this totally confused me. I couldn't work it out. But I get it now. So you want to try and bring this second one almost like so it goes inside of the other one, if that makes sense. So just poke it through. Can be a little bit time consuming, but worth it. Here we are. See you now. You might need your little pointy Cricut tweezers for this one. Okay, it's through. As I said, just make sure that your ribbons aren't twisted or causing a problem. So when you pull it like that, it closes the pouch. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie a knot in the end. And then just trim that edge. And then fold the pouch in half to try and ensure that you get the ribbon and the knot in the same area. So the knot's in the same area and the ribbon is like at the same length. Doesn't have to be perfect, but just close. And then obviously cut the end. And I'm just going to show you how to seal the ends of these ribbons as well. Just take a lighter, don't get too close. And just run it along the edge, and you can feel that it's sealed those edges, so they should not fray. Now I actually used a different ribbon in the end, this holographic, and I wouldn't advise doing that with the holographic because it's kind of like plasticky and it may set on fire. So please be careful when you are doing that. But there's the pouch, as you can see, and it works. Okay, so now we're moving on to the iron on vinyl. I don't have an easy press yet. It is on the way, so I'm using a little travel iron and a little ironing board. This is the baking paper that you can get, and I just use it on the top. Particularly useful for felt, because obviously felt can shrink a little bit with heat as well, so you want to be careful when you're pressing felt. There we go, and that's the design. All done. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial and found it useful. Please subscribe. Thanks now. Bye.